To it in the kitchen this morning, a tasty recipe that you can prepare in the morning and have on the table tonight with little fuss. This morning, Chef Becky's using one of the handiest kitchen tools out there for making a meal while you're busy doing other things. We are talking about the crock pot, the slow cooker, whatever you want to call it. And on the menu this morning, pulled pork.
I love barbecued food, and today I'm going to teach you how to make pulled pork sliders, and it's an easy recipe that can cook all day long while you're at work. So for any crock pot recipe, I highly recommend these slow cooker liners. They just save so much cleanup time. Here I have a 4-pound boneless pork shoulder roast. I'm going to sprinkle it generously with pepper and also onion powder. So now I'm going to try to pick this up and set it in the crock pot. Now the sauce for this recipe is so simple. I'm going to use 1 cup of barbecue sauce and a 12-ounce can of root beer. And then I stir them, and I'm going to pour that over the pork roast. So I'm going to add the lid. I'm going to turn it on to low. You can do 8 or 10 hours, whatever works best for your schedule. So I recommend starting this recipe around 7 or 8 in the morning before you leave for work. And then when you get home, it'll be finished cooking and ready to pull apart. So now our pork has cooked for 10 hours and it's ready to shred. I like to wear rubber gloves for this, and it looks great. I also have an extra slow cooker liner to replace it because we do not want to use the fat that's in the bottom with the meat. So we'll just lift out the pork, and then we'll throw this away. We do not want to put the fat down your drain. So here's the meat. It's nice and tender, falling apart. I can shred it with my bare hands. This recipe does make a lot, and the leftovers freeze really well, so you could portion it out and have an easy dinner in your freezer when you're short on time. So here our pork is ready to add back to the crock pot. So I've added 1 cup of barbecue sauce, and I'm going to turn the crock pot back on to high for between 30 minutes and an hour while I make the apple raisin coleslaw. So this apple raisin coleslaw is a huge hit at any barbecue or potluck. And it doesn't take long to throw together at all, just a few simpler ingredients that you probably have on hand. From the fridge, we're going to need the bag of coleslaw, some lemon juice, and mayonnaise. I'm going to start by peeling the apple. I do really like to use a Granny Smith apple in this recipe because it adds a nice tart balance to the sweet dressing. Now I'm going to chop the apple. I start by making slices, and then rotate it and slice it this direction. Ends up with a nice uniform size. I'm going to add all the Granny Smith apple to the bowl, and then I'm going to drizzle it with the lemon juice, and that'll help it keep from turning brown. Now I'm opening the bag of coleslaw. And we'll go ahead and add that to the apples. I'm going to sprinkle it with salt and pepper. I'll give that a good stir. So now we're going to make the dressing for our coleslaw. I have 1/2 cup of mayonnaise. I have 2 tablespoons of white sugar, 2 tablespoons of cider vinegar, 1 teaspoon of celery seeds. And I like to whisk it together. And then I will toss this with the coleslaw. You can make this about 2 hours ahead. It tends to get soggy. All coleslaws get soggy right away, so I would save this for one of your last steps. But the last ingredient is a cup of raisins. So here you have my apple raisin coleslaw. It's great as a side dish for any barbecue. And in the South, they put coleslaw on their sandwiches. And so that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to get some of this delicious pulled pork that we made, cooked all day long. And then I'm going to add some apple raisin coleslaw. Some people might prefer to have the coleslaw on the side. You can put a large toothpick in there to hold it all together. That is pretty much ready to serve. So here's our finished pulled pork sandwich. It looks like you spent all day in the kitchen, but you really didn't.
Okay, Thomas needs to wipe the drool from his face. All right, you can get this recipe on Chef Becky's website. You'll find a link on KMTR.com under the Get It button. And you can also find Chef Becky on Facebook. She shares her latest recipes and projects there as well.